Yeah, so Barry, that's a very interesting concept about the not just overall survival being the endpoint, but patient preference being a potential, let's say not endpoint, but what's the best way, a something complementary to these traditional endpoints. Like, how would like Cadif, how would Ines, how would they think about this? Because the way that I guess the example I'm thinking about in my mind, and you can kind of completely change this example, Barry, is that I assume that if there's someone who is much older in life, let's say they're 90 years old, maybe they really, really highly want quality of life because they know that they don't maybe have many years left. So for them, the highest value, the thing that most important to them is quality of life. Whereas let's say you have someone in like 30 that has a family, just a young kid, right? Just got married, whatever it may be, has their life ahead of them. They see, okay, I want to take every chance possible to lengthen my lifespan, right? I'm willing to suffer a little bit of quality of life right now in order to get that edge, right, or that chance. So how do you think we should think about it from that rubric? Because those preferences they're very different, right? They're almost like extreme opposites. So how does one even think about modeling this type of concept?
So I do think that Cadith, in particular, and Ines are interested in that. I think they are looking at the various endpoints and more interested in patient preferences. I was actually just with both Cadith and Ines in Australia at the Health Technology Assessment International meeting, and the strong component of that meeting was about patient preferences. So there is a very strong interest in it. The problem is, how do they evaluate it and what are they comparing it to? And that's where they have a lot of challenges right now in terms of integrating patient preferences into the HTA process. And I could tell you we've interviewed through our HTA IPCIG PP group, so that's the Health Technology Assessment Patient Citizen Involvement Group and Patient Preferences. We have actually interviewed 40 HTA bodies around the world, many of which were in Canada, and all are interested in incorporating patient preferences, and most of them have no clue on how they can do that. And this is really where we're at today. So a strong interest in doing it and not quite sure how to integrate it. And of course, the situation that I could really give is, sometimes you have a product, and it could be a device as well, that does not seem to be so cost effective. Or for one reason or another, there may be more morbidity to one procedure over another, but yet for a specific reason, the patient preference is counters that. So, for example, there was a heart device that was looked at, and from all intents and purposes, from an HTA point of view, it seemed like there was no reason that this device would be given reimbursement. Certainly, there was more mortality with the device. It was expensive, and so on. And then the patient preference part of it was they didn't want this. They would have preferred, as opposed to the open surgery, they preferred to have this device, which was less invasive. They were prepared to pay money for it. They were prepared to travel distances in order to obtain it. And the patient preference for this device was much stronger than the evidence for the clinical benefit and the cost effectiveness of the product. And that real world evidence actually convinced the HTA body to reimburse the product. So the patient preferences added more to the conversation. I wish I could say that could happen more often, but I think that that's a good reason to explore this area more, and why it's so important to better understand how these patient preferences can be incorporated into the decision-making process by the expert committees who are not experts in this area at this point.